I thought about a million ways to say this, to be like, Donald Trump's not the worst president we've ever had.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Okay, that's where we're going?
I thought about everything incendiary I could say, but none of those fit the mold of what I was actually trying to say, because
You are wearing red.
and blue.
No, but the red stands out.
Yeah, but the blue, and I'm wearing blue under it too.
Okay. All right.
But basically, what I'm trying to say here is that there is a point to Donald Trump. So, people are gonna hate me for this, and I'm okay with it. But like, a lot of things come back to my African household, and just like any other African parent, my parents are really, really big on like purpose and God having a plan for you and all that other stuff, right? So they're just like, oh, everything happens for a purpose, and I'm like, okay, that's great.
How do they say purpose?
Purpose.
Purpose.
Purpose. There's a plan behind everything. You gotta add that,
Yeah.
right? But like, my parents are like really, really like into that, and I started thinking then, it's like, well, then what's the purpose behind like Donald Trump, right? What's the purpose behind that? And the thing that really got me thinking about it today is the fact that today is the day that the electors are making their decision.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. CNN has been like live streaming like old white people checking off and signing signatures like all day, right? And I'm kind of into it, right? But like,
I didn't even know. Damn.
yeah, I saw it today, and I'm just like, oh, cool, they're voting. Right. This is the quote unquote people that actually decide the election, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Right. This is them casting their votes for Joe Biden and Donald Trump, respectively.
You mean our vote doesn't count?
I mean, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to get caught on camera saying that. But no, like, people are like, so I'm watching this, right, and I'm like, yo, people hate Donald Trump.
Yes.
And then in my mind, I'm like, yo, I also hate Donald Trump. And I'm like, yo, if everybody hates this guy, which is obviously grandiose, but like, if everybody hates this guy, what is the point of this guy? Like, why is he here?
What is your take? Are you asking us the question about?
No. I like, people are like, oh, there's no point to somebody that literally causes a ton of violence to people, blah blah. And I think to some degree that there is, though, right? Because I think that,
Well, he also did a lot of good stuff.
Whatever.
No, he did.
I agree.
It's not controversial.
I agree with you, but like,
HBCU funding,
Yeah.
tax cuts for people. Now, whether you say on taxes, whatever,
the
a lot
Middle
of people
East,
were.
whatever. Remember the Middle East deal that like he apparently
peace
he got
deal
like
in the Middle
he got,
East.
like 4 of them.
I'm not saying I agree with all those things politically. I'm saying for a lot of people, his policies were
He
beneficial.
worked with
I agree
Kim
with you.
Kardashian.
He got some people exonerated for
tough.
some of that stuff.
Right.
I don't want to give him credit for that, but nonetheless, right? He signed the papers.
Yeah. Here's the deal, right? Like, my thing is, I'm trying to understand the point of Donald Trump past that, because everyone's going to dispute whether or not those things actually had a purpose, blah, blah. I think the one thing that you cannot dispute, however, is that he changed the way that we think of, like people that were refused to say anything bad about the United States started to realize that this country isn't, to some degree, all that it's cracked up to be.
Yeah.
You know the reason why people were terrified when Kanye was like, I'm gonna run for president? It's because in their hearts they knew, yo, this guy might win.
Right.
Like Donald Trump made us realize the political process is not immune from like wild and insane people.
I think what Donald Trump highlighted, the purpose to him was telling us that populism is still alive.
Yeah.
I think that's the point. His point was, look, you do not have to go through the cookie cutter model of American democracy. You can appeal to the people. Like, he actually was the most American president ever, because the people.
I think I might have said this.
Yeah, like the people, we the people, right? The whole doctrine of American democracy elect the people that represent us. He went straight to the people. Now, he went to a lot of people who had a certain perspective on America that you can say was not the nicest, but nonetheless, he appealed to them, and he got them to be like, put me in as your savior. And I think he showed us that you don't have to go through the McCains and the Paul Ryans and the people like that to actually get to that point.
I think he also showed us a lot of the flaws in the Democratic Party. I think that's what he really.
That's my
revealed.
thing. I think low key, you know who he is? He's the hacker that like the CIA hires to be like, destroy our infrastructure.
Right.
Tell us what's wrong. And the thing about it is like, so I've been trying to think about objectively who's the worst president we've ever had, right? And I'm gonna say recency bias influences the decision to make it Donald Trump, but it's like William Henry Harrison gave a speech in the freezing cold and then died a month later of pneumonia. That guy's got to be up there, right?
As the worst president? Why would
that make him the worst president?
I mean, you couldn't serve your country because you gave too long a speech. You got to be high up there. There was a guy, Herbert Hoover, literally drove the country into the greatest depression it's ever had. They called slums Hoover towns. They honored his legacy by naming crappy housing.
When you put it
him.
in that perspective, it makes sense.
He's got to be worse.
A lot of presidents
right?
own slaves.
Yeah, they own slaves.
Trump didn't
now,
tank the economy.
Whatever.
He just made the
Trump. I'm not gonna say Trump would, but like
maybe the argument should be of our lifetime.
He made the
like,
social.
people that
he's definitely the worst in our lifetime.
Trump made the social discourse really hostile. He didn't tank the economy, so I can see your perspective why other presidents were worse. But I think he highlighted that populism is real and that democracy is truly democratic.
But here's the worst thing though. When I think about it, I can think logically through all of those things. But when you ask me the question, like is Donald Trump the worst president we've ever had?
Can't objectively say yes.
And I can't objectively say no.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't objectively say either. It's hard for me to think about it, and part of that is just like I think that is the true power of partisanship.
Right.
Is that you can look at a literal slave owner and be like, this guy is worse than the literal slave owner, and then honor the literal slave owner.
That's the whole idea of comparing him to Hitler as well.
Yeah, like the thing that I love about people that are like even like the people that are like, I'm not going to vote because I don't care about the political process. I did like disagree with the view ultimately, but the reason why I respect it is because like I can't sit here and pretend that the options that we've been given are somehow something that you should throw your ballot behind, right? I can't sit here and pretend to some degree that these guys are better or would make different decisions. Like, what decision do you think Donald Trump makes if social pressure incentivizes the choice to maintain slavery?
Right.
Because you said he's a populist leader and he listens to the people, right?
Yeah.
So if Donald Trump is in 1819, making decisions about whether or not people should be slaves, and the dominant discourse of all voting of the entire voting public
that's the problem with populism.
Yeah, is keep the slaves. Donald Trump might say keep the slaves.
Yes, that is true.
Right?
You're saying he doesn't have a character to rebel against that in that situation.
Yeah.
Because he's a populist.
And to me, I'm like, the fact that guy got elected, the fact that you could be like, yo, if he had the choice to, if he had the choice and incentive to, would he bring slavery back? And the answer is yes. The fact that we elected that guy finally taught people that maybe we have not made the level of progress that we have granted ourselves over the past 300 years.
The thing about Trump, man, is he's going to be analyzed for the next 100 years.
Oh, absolutely.
And like those 4 years, you talk about people analyzing the 8 years of Obama, like just because he was the first black president, but Trump in those 4 years changed America a lot more.
He was the first. He might be the first psycho president we've ever had.
He would lie, like the amount of lies he's told on camera, just because it didn't fit his narrative. Coronavirus, how he drink, like this presidency is going to be analyzed.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the other thing that's interesting about Trump, and I want to put this in the perspective that you did with Obama. Obama's book, right, selling like crazy, right, like just doing numbers. It's like rap streaming numbers right now. Like, and it's
Remember when you were like, books are outdated? Look at that.
And then Obama was like, watch me.
Yo, how many of those people are buying the audio version?
Obama said, watch me. Right? But like, Obama is doing numbers, like Hollywood, Blockbuster,
yes,
all that stuff, right? If Donald Trump puts out a book, I'm gonna buy it.
Okay, I'm not buying a book from Donald Trump. He's already published books before that were like,
yeah, I didn't buy any of those. But if he puts out a book,
he's not going to write his book. Okay, he's going to get a ghostwriter. Obama actually is a writer. Like it's his words.
Yeah, but like,
I mean, Trump has the patience to sit down.
Of course not. We know he has a ghostwriter. But if ghostwriters kill people's careers, then who's your favorite rapper again?
No, it's not. No, it's not about that. It's not about that. I'm saying Obama, like he actually like there's thought and like integrity to like the word, like it's his word.
Yeah, I think
Trump
everyone
was just like saying some nonsense.
I agree, but people want to read his psycho manifesto. Everyone like
Oh, you're talking about to analyze like the way he was. thinking
yes.
about things.
If he writes something that reflects on his 4 years like he's got to
one of the most destructive presidents.
he's got to reflect on every lie he's told. He's got to reflect on
and he has to reflect on the fact
coronavirus.
that he doesn't think he lost. He's never gonna say he lost.
Right, he's
Yeah.
got to
He's
reflect
never
on
gonna
all
say
of
he
it.
lost.
All
That-
the people he fired or the people that quit. Like,
That
there's-
book is gonna do numbers. Because think about it. Books about Trump did
Yeah.
crazy numbers.
Yeah.
Fire and Fury.
Yeah,
Woodward,
yeah,
the
yeah.
Woodward thing.
Yeah,
Bob Woodward,
the
yeah.
Woodward thing. What was the book? The name of the book his niece wrote. That was like my uncle's
Oh,
a
yeah,
psycho
yeah,
moron.
Yeah.
That one, like every book that has been written that was like Donald Trump centric, numbers.
Yeah.
And now, imagine Donald Trump being like straight from the horse's mouth. Hear all this. He's gonna advertise it like The Apprentice. Hear all the backstage.
You know what the real purpose of Trump was? And he said this himself. He turned media networks relevant again. Like, who was watching CNN 4 years ago, in 2015? No one was watching CNN, bro.
Not religious. Like we didn't turn on CNN every.
Like people, me and your age. Like I was kind of a news junkie. I kind of watched it, but in general, who was picking
Yeah.
over all the content that I'm gonna go watch CNN?
I
But now
agree.
that they were talking about Trump said, disabled person, but I was like, oh yeah, I want to see their coverage on that.
yeah, it's like. Okay, let's
He made media relevant.
Let's do this. Let's do this. While we're having this discussion, right? Let's just talk. What are your top? And we'll all do one. Give me a Donald Trump story because he's by far been the headline president. Like no president has generated headlines the way he has. And now that we have officially at this exact moment, we just got confirmation about 3 minutes ago that the electorate has officially voted for
Joe Biden.
Right.
Sleepy Joe.
Donald Trump is done. He's done, right? So now that we can reflect on Donald Trump, people do not think he is in the rearview mirror and do not think that, populism is in the rearview mirror. What are your favorite Donald Trump stories? Favorite is a very, very loose term here.
Okay, my thing was I came home from debate practice 2015. This was a year before he got elected. It was night. I walked into the house. It was 9 p.m. See on the TV, it's on, CNN headline.
Bro, it's been 5 years. How do you know this?
What is? I remember this was a moment that stood out.
You marked the timestamp.
No,
It's
I
here.
explicitly. This goes to your point. I explicitly remember opening the door. We had the TV in the living room at that point of time, and on the TV it says Donald Trump says he wants to ban all Muslims. And I'm looking at the CNN correspondent try to rationalize what he just gave a speech on and his policy proposal. And I was just looking at the TV like, what? And I remember Snapchatting that. I think I have it in my Snapchat stories. I remember Snapchatting that, being like, this is crazy. And to me, that let me know that this year was going to be kind of crazy. But I didn't think he would win because I was like, how can someone win for saying that? And then he won.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. But we never banned all Muslims because that's not possible. So
Yeah.
and it's also not a good idea. So, but like the fact that someone could get up, this is the thing I admired about him is like he would just get up and say whatever the fuck he wanted.
Remember
even
when
though
he
I
was
didn't
like
what he said?
Remember when he was like, "Yo, I will shoot." He was basically he put out like he was like, "I'll shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue. I'm not losing no voters."
Yeah.
And then he became the president and he got paid to shoot people, not on Fifth Avenue, but like,
it was funny, bro. He was a funny guy, even though he was such a he said some crazy shit, but he was so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Like when they said, "Why are you calling it the China virus?" and he said, "Because it's from China." I was dead. I was like, yeah.
he's very funny in exactly the wrong way. Like he's the type of funny that you laugh at that you're not supposed to laugh at. You're like, oh,
But that's the funny that actually makes you laugh.
Yeah.
That's the good funny.
because when you're supposed to, it seems artificial.
Right. Yeah, that moment showed me that Trump is not going away and that he was going to say some ridiculous
All right,
shit.
how about you?
I think my moment, there's so many moments, but what I'm thinking is the day I got a notification on my phone when I woke up that Trump has COVID. And I think that moment really stands out because it was just a journey with COVID till that time. And to know the
get
amount
so
of
much joy
times
from this.
he... What?
You see, he gets so much joy.
I
He
don't
loves
get joy.
laughing.
I just think it's funny.
No, just the amount of times he rejected it or he said it wasn't true or he said take bleach or all that stuff just to get better. And the fact that he had it was just insane to me. Just waking up to that news. So I think that would be my my moment. Not my favorite moment, but the moment that stands out that I'm like, whoa.
You know what's weird about that though is like I wish Donald Trump was less entertaining.
Yeah,
as a
presidents are
crazy
not
guy.
supposed to be entertainers.
Yeah,
They're supposed to be boring and we're supposed to not, like when Obama was president. I never cared about his presidency. I wasn't like actively caring about what he's doing.
I did. I cared a little bit.
But like, were you following the day to day of his presidency?
Not the day to day.
That's what I mean.
You know what?
But with Trump, I was following because it's in your face. All
Yeah.
you see is his crazy shit.
There weren't headlines being produced every day.
With Obama, yeah, you couldn't produce a headline. What? That he's wearing a tan suit? Like you can't produce a headline.
With Obama, you know what's wild? The most distinct Obama event that I remember had nothing to do with Obama. I was a young, I think 10-year-old kid. I was a huge WWE fan, still am. And I was watching Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
I had actually gotten the pay-per-view. I'd gotten my parents to pay $60 to let me watch sweaty men beat the hell out of each other with chairs.
Which was fake.
Yeah, it was great, right? But I mean, nobody cares, right? I actually watched a video of Vince McMahon be like, "We are an entertainment program," and explain
That's
the
when
entire
Trump was
thing.
on WWE, where he had his little splat.
Yeah, Donald Trump shaved Vince McMahon's head on
Yes,
WWE television.
That was insane.
Right, but I remember the Obama event was like John Cena had just won a triple threat cage match against, I believe, The Miz and Sheamus or something like that. And he was like, basically John Cena announced that Osama bin Laden had been killed. I remember this event distinctly.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And that's when I was like, oh, this guy, this Barack Obama guy.
Yes.
Is
He's
good.
Legit. He's legit.
I was like, well, this guy's good. You got Osama?
I remember
Obama
on
got
Facebook,
Osama?
everyone was blasting Miley Cyrus's "Party in the USA" song when that happened.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God. That is the event I remember this guy for. Donald Trump, I don't think he has
So what's your story with Trump?
killing Osama, right? For me, the story I remember the most is the African shithole story. When he was like when he called
That's when he was
Africa
campaigning, right?
No, I think it was afterwards.
That
Actually,
was afterwards?
It was like he had called Africa and Haiti shithole countries, and
He said Africa was a shithole country.
yes, he was talking about African countries. I don't know if he called Africa a country. The story is like a little fuzzy, but I just remember it was El Salvador. I remember because my El Salvadorian friends were very upset.
Yo,
Haiti-
every minority in America, he pissed them off at one point.
Yo,
He just said
fair.
some
He
shit.
was just, bro, like, remember when he was like pulling Jordan fadeaways to Puerto Rico?
Yes.
It's like,
With-
you had, like,
with toilet rolls.
there was a hurricane, and this man was like,
That shit was
He was like-
hilarious, bro.
bounty paper towels. He was like, it's two-ply. Use use it to mop up your country. Oh, sorry.
Yo.
I mean territory.
And that's part of the like, damn, bro.
Right. And I'm just like, but the reason why that story really hit me is because it represented everything Donald Trump was. It was like he's wild enough to say something that horrible about pretty much an entire continent. But it's the same guy that was like, we need more Norwegian immigrants.
Yeah.
Ask him any question. What's the capital of Norway?
I don't know.
You? I think it's Oslo, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
It could be. I know Helsinki is Finland because I watch hockey, and that's where they do the thingy, like some of the international events in Finland. But I don't know what Norway is, right? And to me, I'm just like, this is like that statement did not destroy relations because everybody was just like, oh, he's crazy. Like the African reaction to Donald Trump saying that was, eh. And in my mind, that's what Donald Trump was. He was the kind of president.
No, he was the one who said something that people found truth in, right? Because the only reason
nobody was like, Africa's a shithole country. Nobody found truth in that.
No, but you're saying
I will beat you.
you're saying African countries themselves said
They were just
So
like,
was that consciously a conceding part of their country?
No, 'cause
is-
It was more so like, oh, it's Donald Trump speaking. Like
Yeah,
he
again.
Oh,
it's
okay, you mean it
expected.
from that perspective.
It's
again,
expected.
Aiming- that's
very
what they
fine
expect.
people on both sides when speaking about Nazis.
Right.
It's like after that, when some guy says shithole countries, you're just like, hey, as long as you don't feel as though you need to bomb these shithole
Right.
countries, we're good.
So he normalized basically being racist and like saying these derogatory things, and he allowed people to feel that it was part of his personality, which made them not have a reaction towards it.
Yeah, and I guess to kind of wrap this up is to this point though, I don't consider myself a pessimist kind of in nature. But would the country be fundamentally different, like in spirit and ethos, if Donald Trump was not voted president in 2016, or would the country just feel like it? Because these people, right, the people that find solace in very fine people on both sides, that find solace in Africa as a shithole country, that find solace in ban Muslims, that find solace in get rid of transgender people from the military.
They would have never voiced up.
Well, yeah, but they would still be there, right?
But like my thing is, this narrative that like it exposed it, like it led to a lot of material consequences for those people that were negative. So wouldn't it have been better that it would have stayed in the echo chamber? Like, I mean, and Hillary got elected.
Maybe, but then like what are we?
Like, what's the impact to it being there and not being exposed?
I agree with you. I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's like to some degree though, it's like we can't just assume that it is a black and white situation. Yes and no, racist, not racist. Like America did not become a racist nation or did not become a nation with racism because Donald Trump was elected. Like anyone that thinks like that believes the advent of American racism began in 2016 is idiotic.
So are you saying Trump makes people think that happened?
I think Donald Trump makes more, because there are so many liberal, like I have so many liberal friends that refuse to acknowledge that America is a nation foundationally built on racism.
Right.
And somehow after an inauguration in 2017, they changed their tune.
And was that good? Is my argument, or is my question that they changed their tune?
I don't think that
it's good that they changed their tune.
Yeah, I don't think that it makes things better just that they recognized it. I also don't think that it outweighs all the harm that Donald Trump has caused.
So that's my point.
But it does it has purpose, right? Which is the whole thing that my parents were trying to tell me, is that to some degree there's purpose. Now, when I asked them the question, however, like what is the purpose in Donald Trump, they're just like, right?
They didn't have an answer.
Yeah, they were just all over the place with it, and they were just like, man, go throw out the trash. But at the same time, it's just like there was a point to this guy. I don't want people to think that the last 4 years has been an absolute waste of time.
I think
there's something to find here.
The two things we get out of this is Trump allowed people to see that America was racist, even though they were just seeing that in 2017 and not before that. Right. The question then becomes, was his presidency and the discoverability of people recognizing that America was actually racist better over him not getting elected, those same people not thinking America is racist, but the negative impacts of his racist policies not happening to the people he was talking about?
I don't know. You got to ask. I think the answer differs from demographic to demographic.
Yes.
I think some people are just going to be like, yeah, this was a great and influential conversation. Because here's the weird thing about it. It's like Donald Trump's policies were really, really bad for like a ton of people. But like for the most part, I mean, I'm trying to think from the perspective of a black man. It's almost scary to be like, it was kind of business as usual.
That is true.
Like,
he deported more people than Obama, right?
Yeah, as a black, we were shot before him. We were shot after him.
Yeah, it's just like
we went to jail before him.
He did pass
we went to
criminal
jail
justice
after
reform.
him.
That was a good thing. CJR.
Yeah.
Now he had bipartisan support that was going to pass regardless. I think with any president.
I'm not quite like I know. The only thing about it was that is that there are a lot of like black people that have taken L's and like died because the national ethos around race has become so favorable to racists.
Yes.
Like the whole they get to be open. It's hard for me to think that openness.
Yeah.
Pretty boys.
What was their name?
Proud Boys. You just called them the.
I didn't know.
Name of the episode: The Pretty Boys.
I really didn't know.
I'll show you an image of them. You tell me if you could call them the Pretty Boys.
Yeah, man. I don't think people know who the Proud Boys were during the Obama years.
Yeah, I had to Google that. I had to Google what
Trump
Proud Boys
gave them
was.
a platform. That is objectively true.
And to me, I'm like, but how much of that? Because that's one of those
you gotta
things.
Ask your parents what was the purpose to that.
Yeah, how much of that do we trace back to Trump? Because like you can't quantify that.
No, I think it's we don't have to. It's Trump,
right? And it's like at a certain point, that's how Trump supporters are going to spin it though, in order to be like he didn't have a racist impact. They're gonna be like black people, tax cuts and criminal justice reform. And then when you attempt to say created a culture that made people okay with overt racism, they're going to be like, you can't draw a straight line back to Trump.
Because the sad thing is they would also say people were getting shot in the Obama years.
Yep.
That's when Black Lives Matter even started as a movement.
Yep.